In the days when the gods still walked among mortals and kingdoms rose and fell upon the strength of their swords, there wandered a woman whose name was spoken in both fear and admiration, Xena, the warrior princess. Her armor gleamed like moonlight on steel, and her heart, though scarred by darkness, sought redemption through deeds of courage and mercy. One cool dawn, under skies streaked with rose and gold, Xena and her faithful companion Gabrielle entered a restless town at the edge of the Mycenaean lands. Rumors swirled like smoke of a king's treasure beyond imagining, locked deep within the vaults of King Cleiades, guarded by traps, sorcery, and a host of soldiers. But Xena was not there to steal gold. She sought something far greater, the Ark of the Covenant, an ancient chest said to contain the power of the gods themselves, stolen from a sacred temple. The king, fearful of divine wrath, had hidden it among his riches, and Xena, though once a thief of lives and kingdoms, now wished to return it to its rightful temple before mortal greed brought disaster. Yet she knew she could not do it alone. So she sought a man whose reputation rivaled her own, a thief whose hands were quicker than shadows and whose smile could charm gold from a miser's purse. His name was Autolycus, the self-proclaimed king of thieves. She found him not in a castle or a cave, but in a tavern filled with laughter and the scent of mead, where dice rolled and secrets were sold. He was exactly as legend whispered, tall, roguish, with eyes that danced like sunlight on the sea. When she approached, his grin widened. "Xena," he said with mock surprise. "Should I be flattered or worried?" "You should be useful," she replied. And thus began a partnership neither of them entirely trusted. The plan was daring. To steal the Ark from King Cleiades' heavily guarded vault, they would pose as a royal couple, a foreign prince and his bride come to pay homage to the king. The irony was not lost on either of them. Xena, the stoic warrior, pretending to be a demure princess, and Autolycus, a thief and trickster, forced to act noble and sincere. Gabrielle, amused and exasperated in equal measure, watched them prepare. She warned Xena that working with Autolycus was like dancing with fire, thrilling but dangerous. Xena only smiled. "Then I'll just have to make sure I lead." With fine robes and forged seals of royalty, they entered the glittering palace of King Cleiades. The halls were adorned with marble pillars, and the air carried the scent of rich oils and gold. Courtiers bowed, unaware that beneath their silks and smiles, the royal guests plotted to rob their master blind. Autolycus, for all his mischief, moved like a cat through the corridors of power. He flirted, jested, and slipped keys from belts without missing a step. Xena, ever focused, kept her eye on the mission. But even she could not entirely ignore the absurdity of it all. The fierce warrior princess being courted in public by a thief in royal attire. The charade worked perfectly. At the royal feast, when Cleiades raised a toast to his honored guests, Xena played her part with poised grace, while Autolycus whispered under his breath, "You make a stunning queen, my dear. Shall we make it official?" Her elbow found his ribs before he could say more. That night, when the torches burned low and the palace slumbered, the real work began. In silence, they crept through the labyrinth of corridors, descending into the vault where the treasure lay hidden. Autolycus's skill with locks was unmatched. His fingers danced across tumblers and gears as if they were strings of a lyre. "No trap too clever, no lock too tight," he murmured with pride. But Xena's sharp eyes caught what his overconfidence nearly missed: pressure plates, hidden spears, and enchantments carved in the very stone. Working together, they disarmed the traps with a strange harmony, her precision and strength matched by his cunning and agility. They were two opposites bound by necessity,
moving like twin shadows toward the gleam of destiny. At last, before them stood the Ark. It was not large, yet it radiated a solemn power, its surface carved with sacred sigils that glowed faintly in the torchlight. Xena approached with reverence, knowing this was no mere treasure. It was a relic of the gods, never meant to be touched by greedy hands. But before she could lift it, the trap was sprung. A net of steel crashed from above. Alarms shattered the silence, and guards poured in from every door. Autolycus cursed under his breath. I knew that pressure plate looked suspicious. Xena drew her sword, deflecting spears and striking with the grace of a storm. Autolycus, though no warrior, fought in his own way, ducking, dodging, and confusing their foes with laughter and wit. "Did I mention I prefer smaller crowds?" he quipped, leaping from a table to grab a chandelier.
They fought their way out, though the Ark remained within the vault. Yet even as they fled, Xena's mind turned not to escape, but to redemption. She could not leave the sacred relic in mortal hands. By dawn they hid in the forest beyond the palace walls. Autolycus sulked, polishing a stolen jewel as if to soothe his wounded pride. "You realize," he said, "that was my best heist, and you ruined it." Xena gave him a measured look. "You call stealing from kings an art. I call restoring what's sacred a duty." For a moment he saw not the fierce warrior, but the woman beneath, one haunted by her past, yet striving to set things right. Something in her resolve stirred a flicker of respect within him. "All right," he sighed, "one more try, but next time I choose the disguise." So by moonlight once more, the unlikely pair returned. This time Autolycus devised a distraction worthy of his title: fireworks, smoke, and chaos that sent guards scattering in confusion. While the king's men scrambled, Xena slipped into the vault, lifted the Ark with reverence, and carried it into the night. They fled to the high cliffs beyond the city walls, where dawn met the sea in a blaze of gold. There, they unsealed the Ark just long enough to glimpse the divine symbols within, then sealed it again with care. Xena would take it to its rightful temple. That much she swore. Autolycus, ever the jester, tried to lighten the mood. "You know, Xena, we made quite the royal couple. We fooled an entire court." She smirked. "You played your part well for a thief." "And you," he said, with a roguish bow, "were radiant for a warrior." For a heartbeat, laughter and something unspoken lingered between them. Then, as always, their paths diverged. He vanished into the mist, his silhouette fading like smoke, the king of thieves untamed and unrepentant. She rode onward with Gabrielle, the Ark secure behind her, her heart lightened by the strange friendship forged in danger and deceit. And so, the tale of the royal couple of thieves became another legend in the saga of Xena, the warrior princess, a story of cunning and courage, of laughter and loyalty found in the most unlikely of places. For even heroes need partners now and then, and even thieves may serve the light, if only for a night beneath the same stars. And somewhere in another kingdom, as the wind whispered through the dark, a familiar voice could be heard saying to no one in particular, "Ah, Xena, she still owes me a crown."